I lost respect for you.
What do you feel like is hitting you the hardest?
You quite literally texted me and said, I should have Alex too.
Have you guys set a date?
Yeah.
Yes.
We all invited?
Sorry, I have to interject here.
Grant, this isn't about you right now. Did you have a house,
Wow.
Tyler? Did you have somewhere else to go except my house or your pregnant sister's house? You should feel lucky how much I love your daughter, that I don't release the things you've done and said to me.
And honestly, I'm gonna write the narrative. Sorry, Tyler.
Oh, that's a flat out lie.
Now, I was not planning to do this video, but here we are. Temptation Island is back. I watched and binged all of it in lying in 2 days. And as much as I don't have a business talking about this show, I'm going to talk about it. Here we go. Hi everyone, my name is Nelly and welcome to my YouTube channel. I do commentary videos and today I'm going to be doing a commentary video about Temptation Island. We're going to dissect that and dissect the couples, and I have a lot to talk about. Okay, let's get into it. Now, the new season of Temptation Island has served some of the most cringeworthy, heartbreaking, and downright fascinating relationship breakdowns in reality television. And as always, Temptation Island isn't just a game of loyalty and trust. It's a psychological experiment in self-worth, in manipulation, and in emotional intelligence. So right now we're going to dive deep into the 4 couples this season who have given themselves up to the audience to be dissected and slaughtered up. The couples are Ashley and Grant, Breon, am I saying correct? Breon and Shantae, Lionel and Alexa, Tyler and Taylor. Now, each of these couples brought their own drama, their own red flags, their own psychological games on the table. And trust me, it's more than just a typical cheating drama. We're talking about deep-seated insecurities, manipulation, and toxic patterns that go beyond the surface. Let's start with Ashley and Grant. From the beginning, their relationship felt like a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. Ashley, the one who seems to be craving consistent reassurance, was clearly struggling with deep-rooted insecurities in the relationship, which were caused by Grant in the first place. They did mention that Grant cheated on the first month of them dating, and him mentioning that he had to go to Greece to get her, make it sound like the honorable gesture after cheating, is quite insane. She came to the show because she claimed that she needed Grant to validate her at every turn, but what she didn't realize was that this neediness created a toxic cycle of dependency to Grant. Grant, on the other hand, seemed like the person or the type to feed into that need. But underneath the surface, there's a more troubling dynamic at play in this relationship. You almost feel that Grant has one foot in the relationship and another foot out the door the entire time. And yet he doesn't fully commit to leaving the relationship. And while I continue to watch the show, I constantly asked myself, because of the previous dynamic I just mentioned, is it because he cares? Which I thought he didn't after the whole cheating stunt that he pulled in the island. Or is it because he's emotionally invested in the power he holds over Ashley and her insecurities? Their connection in the island exposed the cracks in their relationship. Ashley was desperate for attention, and that is okay. We all need attention in relationships, and the singles in the island gave it to her. She reveled in the attention and found herself questioning her worth when faced with real intimacy. And Grant, well, he quickly fell into the arms of someone who didn't constantly demand constant validation. And I'm not bashing Ashley for constantly needing that. If that is what someone wants from you, if the individual constantly wants reassurance and wants attention and validation, that is what they want, and you needed to give it to them for them to stay happy in a relationship. And if you find someone who doesn't really need that, that is still okay, because they are also their own person and they don't need that. So Grant found someone who didn't constantly want constant validation, and that is okay. Now, how does the manipulation come in here? The manipulation here isn't just about cheating. It's about how both of them were manipulating each other's emotions to maintain control over a failing relationship. After the final bonfire, Grant left all alone, and I personally think Grant didn't just leave the island because he was ready to leave the island alone. He left alone because he thought Ashley would also leave alone, or worst, actually continue to be in a relationship with him, which I'm glad that did not happen. He thought she'll be so dependent on him that she wouldn't have a choice but to leave with him. But here's the thing, I'm really proud of Ashley that she did not leave with Grant. Ashley, in her own way, found a connection with someone else, Denny, and that completely shattered Grant's delusion of Ashley about their relationship. He was disappointed because in his mind, Ashley was supposed to be as attached to him as he was to her. But instead, she found someone else who will hopefully meet her emotional needs. Now, with Ashley's actual connection with Danny, the chemistry, in my own opinion, looked very real. Danny was there for Ashley in the way that Ashley always wanted Grant to be for her, but he wasn't. From what we've seen from the show and what it was portrayed, he was very understanding, he was very patient and emotionally available for Ashley, and I'm talking about Danny. And then there was another love interest, which was Logan, who was another potential connection, but was way too slow to establish anything solid with Ashley. Danny took a chance. Danny swept in and made the connection that Ashley had been craving for. And here's the catch. Ashley wasn't looking for love per se. She was looking for validation and affirmations. The problem was that she was never going to find those validations or those affirmations in the relationship that she was in previously with Grant. But still, it was clear that Ashley and Danny had the potential for something deeper. I personally wish she could have left alone, you know, so she could take some time to actually learn about herself and rejuvenate and, validate herself and grow into a healthier relationship with herself before jumping into another relationship. I don't know if they are in a relationship, but again, they could be friends who just like kissing each other, So I wish them all the best. Next up is Brian and Shantae. Their relationship at first glance screamed, "We're fine. We don't need help. Not really. We're just, cruising. We just need a little bit of a push and we'll be fine." But it was clear that the cracks were starting to show in their relationship. Shantae wanted Brian to be more committed and emotionally available, while Brian just wasn't ready to give that to her. Brian wanted Shantae to loosen up and he wanted threesomes, which is okay. I mean, to each on his own, but instead of discussing these issues with Shantae, or both of them discussing the issues that they had with each other, they tiptoed around them, creating an illusion of stability while the relationship was silently getting destroyed. Brian's connections in the island showed how he thrives in situations where he doesn't have to take accountability. He's not really searching for something deeper. I guess in the island he wasn't. He was just searching for just validation and fleeting excitement, while Shantae, however, seemed to be looking to strengthen her emotional intelligence in a way. She was looking for emotional depth within herself or within the relationship that she thought she had with Brian. And that's why she didn't even give herself a chance to open up to the connections in the island. She friend zoned every man there and made it known and called it a day. She did not play. So Brian's and Shantae's connection, in my own perspective, truly felt like an escape from reality than a true connection. So personally, I think that the connections they made in the island, they did not feel like true connections. They felt like an escape from the reality of their relationship. And let's be real, their attempt of fixing things through this process was more about proving they could make it work than actually addressing the problems in the relationship. Now, things took a turn. Okay. Okay, so Brian. Oh my goodness, this man. Okay. Things took a dark turn when Brian cheated on Shantae. And how? This man had a threesome with two girls in the bathroom until the damn sun came up. Yep. This man had the audacity to say the birds are chirping after when he came out of the bathroom. That is insane, my guy. Hey. That's right. Brian didn't just go looking for attention from another person or another woman. He crossed a serious line, and I would believe that him and Shantae had a talk of not crossing any boundaries. I would assume, and it crossed a serious line and involved multiple women in an attempt to distract himself from his crumbling relationship. It was not a slip up, you guys. It was a full blown betrayal to Shantae. And the mere fact that Shantae did not even realize that, I'm still pissed about that. It was, what was worse is that Brian did not even own up to it or even acknowledge the emotional toll it will take on Shantae. This man knew she was going to forgive her, and he took advantage of that. He seemed to just brush it off like it's no big deal. And Shantae proved him correct. My guy. Oh. Brian's actions speak so much about his emotional immaturity. He couldn't handle the responsibility of being in a committed relationship. And rather than confronting the issues with Shantae, he sought external validation to fill a void that couldn't be filled. You understand? Shantae, on the other hand, was looking for that kind of emotional connection that Beyond wasn't capable of giving to her. She deserved so much better than being treated how Brion treated her on that show. One of the most perplexing, you know what? I have a lot to say about Brion and Shantae. One of the most perplexing and frankly diabolical decisions this season was Shantae choosing to leave the island with Brion. After everything that has happened, Shantae was like, okay, I'm gonna take this man back because I love him. Guys, sometimes love is not enough, okay? Love is just not enough. So you probably asked yourself, why did Shantae not leave Brion? And personally, for me, it seemed pretty clear that Shantae's decision is rooted in emotional dependency. That's just how I see it. Despite the betrayal, the gaslighting, besides the toxicity of the relationship, Shantae was unable to break free from it. She was so attached to the idea of them being together that even after witnessing the whole cheating debacle and the whole Brion not taking accountability and his emotional unavailability, his selfishness, she still chose to stay. I feel like this is a classic example of someone who may have been looking for validation and perhaps saw Brian as the only person who can give it to her or provide that for her. And even though he has already shown he is not capable of giving her that or what she truly needs, Shantae's decision speaks to a deeper issue, the fear of being alone. I personally think. I feel like a lot of people stay in unhealthy relationships because they fear the unknown. They fear to actually address themselves, be alone, and actually look themselves in the mirror and address the healing that they have to go through alone. You know, I'm not saying Shantae doesn't deserve better, but sometimes it's easier to go back to what's familiar, even when you know it's not right for you. I would say, in a way, Shantae was choosing the comfort of a toxic relationship over the discomfort of self growth and independence. And that's pretty sad. Now, let's talk about Lionel and Alexa. They seemed so perfect for each other, both attractive, both seemingly emotionally mature, but the cracks started to show as soon as the temptation element was introduced in the island. It was shown in the show or portrayed in the show that Lionel was keeping the connections in the island very casual, while Alexa was ready for something much more serious. I feel like Lionel had a way of charming people in the island without actually committing to anything. His connections with the singles felt more like a game to him, someone to flirt with, someone to distract him from the troubles that he's having in his relationships. Alexa, on the other hand, seemed like she was looking for emotional stability and commitment. But when Lionel couldn't offer that, she started to question her place in the relationship. And it did not help that Lionel was still harboring um, the whole thing that I think Alexa cheated on Lionel, and Lionel was still holding on to that over her head and actually not forgiving her. And I felt like this was personally not Alexa's problem, it was Lionel's problem. Because if you choose to be in a relationship with someone who has cheated on you and you continue to be in a relationship with them, it's your responsibility to heal because you chose to stay with that person. You had a choice not to stay with them, you know, but you still chose to still stay with them. So it's your responsibility to find a will to find a way to heal. I mean, you can forgive, but you'll never forget. But again, you have to find a way to heal and not always constantly hold it over their head, especially if they've proven themselves to have grown and to have also put in the work in the relationship. In the island, Alexa's vulnerability did lead her to find a few connections with people that made her feel seen and heard, and something that Lionel hasn't done for her in a very long time. Lionel, meanwhile, found himself caught up in the excitement of something new and new people, but it wasn't that deep for him. Those connections were really not that deep for him. It was a temporary escape from the relationship he wasn't ready to fully embrace. And finally, we have Alexa and Lionel getting engaged and proposed to, and which is great. Congratulations to them. But to be real, I do we think they're going to stay together forever? I don't know. Probably not. Temptation Island is notorious for bringing out the worst in couples. And while Alexa and Lionel's connection seemed quite solid, we cannot ignore the fact that they've both been through some serious emotional turmoil in the island. So I hope maybe they go to like therapy and like I don't know, get to talk about whatever they're going through, and Lionel gets to really, really forgive Alexa for what she has done. And I feel like maybe they do have a possible chance. Are they engaged right now? I'm not sure. I need to research. Are they married? Hopefully. But I do wish them all the best. They look like a sweet couple. So yeah. Now let's address Tyler and Taylor. Taylor is actually is my favorite. She's one of, like, Taylor's my favorite. And I have a reason why. This couple was a roller coaster from the first jump. Tyler was emotionally distant while Taylor was looking for any kind of attention to fill the void left by his indifference. But what really made their relationship stand out was the psychological manipulation at play. Okay. Taylor knew how to push Tyler's button, and Tyler knew exactly how to withdraw, create a toxic cycle of control and power. Tyler's connections with the singles showed her need to like prove her worth to Tyler, but it also revealed a deeper truth. She didn't feel secure in herself unless Tyler was all in their relationship. And Tyler, he knew he had the upper hand because he wasn't emotionally invested in the relationship. He could flirt, but he didn't really care. This left Tyler in a perpetual state of emotional chaos, unsure whether she could trust him or not. I feel like their journey in the island exposed a deep emotional disconnect that had been festering for a while. Tyler's emotional detachment and Taylor's desperate need for reassurance created such a relationship built on power dynamics rather than true love or respect. Here's the thing. Tyler grew. She realized that the problem in her relationship weren't just Tyler's lack of motivation. They were about her own need to control things and seek validation from someone who wasn't emotionally available in a relationship. And Tyler is actually one of my favorite in the island because you can generally feel and see that she knows what she wants, and unfortunately, she wouldn't get that with Tyler or from Tyler. You could generally see she knows what she wants, but she wouldn't and she would not get what she wants from Tyler. When she had her breakdown and talk about how everyone leaves in her life, that was really heartbreaking. And she was questioning her worth because of the actions of this man. It's probably relatable to so many people. It's also relatable to me as well. But you know what? She decided enough is enough and took this experiment to throw herself and find herself. That was beautiful and that was very commendable on her side. Now, let's talk about Tyler. So, Tyler's turning point is when he fell for Kay. It happened quite fast, really fast. Like, it wasn't just a case of infatuation. Tyler genuinely believed he had found someone who was emotionally available for him, someone who he saw and satisfied his needs. But let's break this down. Falling for someone after 27 hours is not healthy. It's a classic example of emotional dependency, not love. So I genuinely feel like Tyler's first connection with Kay highlighted how toxic relationships can form when we're looking to fill an emotional void. Moving too fast, especially when you've just left a tumultuous relationship, is never a good sign. Tyler's emotions were unstable. And instead of taking the time to actually evaluate himself and heal, he launched himself to Kay as a source of validation. And I feel like that is a very dangerous cycle. But again, to each on his own. So, what did we learn from these couples, as you may be asking? Temptation Island isn't just about cheating or about loyalty, it's about understanding the psychological underpinning of these relationships. The real temptation isn't the singles on the island. It is not. It's the emotional baggage the couples bring with them. It's about how insecurities, emotional immaturity, and unhealthy attachment patterns can destroy even the most seemingly stable relationship. So the key takeaway here is simple. Until we confront our own insecurities and learn how to communicate and respect our own worth, we will never be able to build something truly lasting with someone else. This season of Temptation Island was a raw and brutal reminder of how easily it can get to be caught up in a temptation to ignore the flags in your relationship or to ignore the needs in your relationship or to manipulate our partners and ultimately destroy something that was ought to be beautiful. But it's also offering us an opportunity to understand and learn from these relationships. But in the end, understanding these emotional intelligent dynamics is the first step in breaking toxic cycles and building healthier relationships. So I've learned a lot from these couples and also doing research about these couples and the psychological underline and the tones they portrayed in the show. So I hope you also did learn something as well. Thank you so much for tuning in into my video. I hope you did enjoy this dissection of the couples of Temptation Islands. If there's season 2, I'll be back with another dissection because you know what? I love this. I love this and it's just teaching me so much about relationships and about myself. So peace. Let's go heal, guys. Let's get some therapy. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Mwah.